Hello there, beautiful. This is Kim Parkinson, podcast growth coach and producer, and I am here on the Podcasting for Spiritual Women podcast, and I'm going to be talking to you a little bit today about why your podcast should be a calling and not just content. It is something that should be really thought of as a client magnet, a client journey. It brings you credibility. It brings more people into your world and into your sacred space and allows them to really intimately get to know you and get to understand you and learn how you work with others. And really, it all begins with your podcasting journey. So if you have mapped out your podcast, how does it actually help you grow your business? A podcast really becomes your content engine, your magnets for clients, and your credibility builder, all while staying aligned with your values. It is and always will be long-form evergreen content. So if you are talking about your particular program, your modality, what you do, you are then showcasing your strengths, your weaknesses even, and how people can work with you, what they can expect, the true essence of what they can expect when they want to embark on a journey with you. And now that just really dives deep into deeper relationships with your listeners, just showcasing your expertise. This is really the part of a podcast that is true to oneself. It is your story. It is your wisdom. It is your knowledge. And you are just sharing this out on the airwaves in a form that really is what speaks to you, right? It's your voice. It's what actually showcases your true emotions and desires. Your voice has that ability to really inflect all of that with just a few sentences. They hear your energy and they hear your stories week after week. However often that you publish your episodes, they're hearing more of your wisdom, more of your knowledge, more of what you have to say. And this isn't just for spiritual women. I'm going to mention that. This is actually for any and all podcasters. This is just baseline bottom. This is what we're talking about. If you have a story to share, if you have a modality, if you have a teaching, if you have a journey, if you have something that you need to get out there and share, when you are speaking to the microphone and publicly putting it out there in your podcast, you are then introducing people to the true essence of you, of what is inside of you, of what you can do, of what you can accomplish, and what you can help them accomplish. That is so important, especially now more than ever. I had a discussion the other day with a woman about mystery schools. And many of you may know what a mystery school is. And it's just fascinating to dive deep into some of the roots of the mystery schools, right? The idea that women, young and old, got together and they taught each other different practices, whether or not that was knitting or sewing of some type, or whether or not that was making a meal or a different type of bread, or maybe it was some type of a concoction to help a woman with her pregnancy in some fashion. These mystery schools have been around for, hundreds, thousands, millennia, who knows, right? I mean, women have always found that way to guide and nurture. And you can really think of this as your podcast, as your own personal mystery school. You are allowing those women, and hopefully your ideal clients, so could be possibly men, and you're allowing those people into your world to learn your secret sauce, right? Your secret bread making skills, for lack of a better, mystery school feature here. You are really showcasing what you're about. how you do it, and teaching others while you're speaking. We're teaching others when we put out a podcast, and we're teaching them how we teach, how we coach, how we guide, how their journey could essentially be. And this content is all of your brand pillars, right? Your personal brand pillars or your business brand pillars, whichever you decide they could be. And they could be one and the same, right? While I own KP Creative Media, I realistically do this mostly on my own. I do have a small team, but they're not out there mentioning that they are part of the KP Creative Media team. They're their own brand. And I want it that way because I really want to empower them to be the best copywriter and the best editor and the best VA they can be. And if their time with me and my business comes to an end, I want them to be able to stand on their own. I really, truly feel like it's important for them to move forward as a personal brand. So whether or not you're using your podcast as a personal brand or you're using it as an actual brand message, all of your podcast episodes become those pillars, right? Those basic, what you talk about every week, who you're talking to every week, and your show just becomes an anchor for all of that marketing. Really, this is maybe, in my opinion, maybe easier than writing out that blog post and then posting all of the other social media pieces that go with this. Because this here is going to, and again, this is, in my opinion, this is going to take you less time and less thought to do, I believe. I mean, there's a lot of thought and a lot of, definitely some editing if you need it to be that way, or even the pre-work of how to plan out your episodes. So there could be some of that, but I feel like the ability to use your voice rather than to type it up or to write it up makes it so much easier. It's a clear line right there. And then, of course, with transcription services and any kind of Opus clip or anything like that, you can turn this into a blog, a newsletter. You can then turn this into social media. And I do recommend turning your anchor content into all of those pieces as you can. The beautiful thing is even though you do want each episode to maybe get its own time to shine, if you do find that things have slacked off or things have gotten behind, you went on vacation, whatever, you can actually pick up any of those episodes and redo all of the socials or all of the blog posts and all of that for it and publicize it and put it out there even a month, 2 months, 6 months, 10 months, a year, 3 years after it has been published, after the episode has gone to air. So you are not stuck with just putting it out same week. It's not a one and done. It's not you've created a short video and maybe not seen by very many people. This is something that can be heard by people months and years later. So it's a powerful tool. And it's definitely something that even if you have old episodes that you've never really gotten any traction on, maybe you've gotten some really great download numbers recently, but your earlier episodes didn't really get a lot of download numbers, you could go back and create some momentum around that with some social media posts, some blog posts, some Pinterest pins, newsletters, writing about it. Just tell people about an old episode. It doesn't mean that you stop creating new episodes. It's just awareness to something that maybe you felt was a really great episode before, or you just didn't have the time to talk about it. And there's no need for them to be sitting on the shelf and getting dust. So we're just going to make sure that what you have to say, the important truths that your voice, your sacred truths that you're saying, that you are getting those out there, whether or not that is immediately upon the episode going live or whether or not that is months later. They are not dead. They are still alive, and they just need a little bit of additional zhuzhing, I guess, a little bit additional help just to get out there. we talked about building connection and trust with your podcast and how it can expand your visibility within burnout. And that also within burnout is speaking about the fact that you could do all those additional pieces. You got those pillars, you've got those content, you've got those episodes, and you are maybe just not feeling yourself and you're bringing them back. And that burnout can be alleviated a little by the episodes you've already created. So repurpose. And then what ends up happening is you'll see the more episodes, the more consistent that you are, the more you follow the SEO guidelines, and the more that you just really focus in on what you do and who it's for, those soul-aligned clients are going to find you. They're going to step into your world. People will binge listen to all of your previous episodes, or many, depending on how many you have. If you've got hundreds, maybe they will listen to, 10 or 20 at a time. And that's amazing. These people are often the ones that will eventually buy from you, whether or not that's right away, or whether or not that is stepping into your world for your freebie or your newsletter or just into your socials, and then finding that journey which guides them to that next step of working with you. And ultimately, your podcast is reflecting how you want them to find you, how you want them to follow that path, that journey to be that customer. Whether or not that's an invitation in the middle of the episode or an invitation at the end of the episode, or maybe you just coached another client or coached somebody on what you were doing. It's just a great way to showcase your strengths. And when people can really feel that, they really do feel that they can follow you, and it's just a trust, right? It's just that trust to get them to buy from you, to get them to love you, and to follow through with that journey that you have created for them. You always are looking to guide people to that offer, whether that's organically or whether or not that's through dynamic ads. My goal is always to guide people to an organic offer. And by that, I mean, I really just want you to guide them with your voice through whether or not that's coaching or just mentioning, I have a newsletter and I would love for you to subscribe, because every week I bring you not only information about my latest episode, but I also will expand on some of the knowledge that we talked about in the episodes. So something along those lines, and that is my organic deliverability here. So I am inviting you to my newsletter. I'm inviting you into my world to belong to that each and every week. And whether or not that is just through the podcast or whether or not that is through the podcast and the newsletter, perhaps you will follow me, whatever that is. But that's my ask. My ask is for you to come along with me on my journey through this podcasting. All right. I hope you have gotten a little bit of a better understanding about how powerful your voice can be in the podcasting realm. Whether or not that is you hand-holding them and guiding them along the path, or whether that's showing them how you work with another person, or just teaching them through your modality, explaining to them the beautifulness of you. You really want them to feel your voice, right? Feel that true piece of you that you're sharing. And that is so important because our voices are magical and they do have a tendency to allow people to really get to know us better. So I really do hope that you join my newsletter. I do put one out every week, and then come on back for the next episode, and I cannot wait to share with you more podcasting tips. Thank you so much. See you soon. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Podcasting for Spiritual Women. If you would like more strategy and tips and some tricks on how to make your podcast better, I recommend that you join my newsletter list. You can find that at kpcreativemedia.com/newsletter. Until next time.